Hey everybody, welcome back to Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel. We're on our way for the 5th pizza stop on our grand Southern Arizona pizza tour. So far we've been to Proof, we've been to Banshee Pizza out there in Bisbee, Arizona. We've been to No Anchovies, and we've been to Upper Crust. Today we're going to try a new style of pizza, because most of what we've done has either been wood fire or artisan or New York style, but all very thin pizzas. Today we try Detroit style. And before you guys say anything, I'm not talking about Little Caesars or Domino's, which are quote-unquote Detroit pizzas. Yeah, they both are founded in Detroit. And kind of, well, watch the foods that made America. They explain it better than I would. But today we're going to try traditional, almost said New York style, Detroit style, which is actually pan pizza with that nice caramelized cheese around the outside and a little bit more leaven, a little bit fluffier of dough. All right, today's adventure takes us here to Transplant Pizza, and to quote Adam the Woo, I'm wearing an appropriate shirt because I am a diehard Detroit fan when it comes to football, basketball, and baseball. And my grandmother was actually born and raised in Detroit, and my dad was born and raised in Mont Clemens, Michigan. Although I've never been, Detroit's always had a very special place in my heart. Let's see if this pizza has a special place in our heart today, besides, cholesterol and whatnot. Their menu has everything from appetizers, sandwiches, and salads. We highly recommend the Caesar salad pasta. It is delicious, and I really need to try those new fried pickles. And their pizza, the reason we're here, range from everything from a elote style, spicy pickle, prosciutto, fig, and arugula, and their classic pepperoni. And just recently, they started actually doing a lunch-specific menu, which is what we took advantage of today. I got their slice and salad combo. Speaking of the Caesar salad, how good does that look? As Dana finishes her salad and Charlie stills her drink, let's take a closer look at that slice of pizza. You see, Detroit style dates back to 1946 in Detroit, Michigan to a small bar called Buddy's. It's most commonly defined by the caramelized cheese that surrounds the outside rim, as well as the sauce that goes on top of that cheese. It's very closely related to the Sicilian style pizza, which we'll talk more about later in a future video. As for right now, let's get back to the salad. So I'm putting on the Caesar dressing that they make in-house, and you notice all those big pieces of just shaved Parmesan. It is absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite salads, period, no matter where you go to. In fact, more than once, Dana's made me go and pick the salad up just for her instead of pizza. And at there, she gave us a thumbs up. One thing I find unique is they actually put pasta in the salad. So with that nice Parmesan, the salad itself, and those house-made croutons, there's really not a bad bite to be had with the salad. If you don't want to get pizza, if you're not a pizza person, just go for the salad. But Charlie loves pizza, and there he is stealing Dana's. Well, stealing the cheese anyway. He's not so big on the big fluffy pizza dough. Well, my salad's done. Time to move on to that slice of pizza. So, looking at it, my first thought is it's a little bit more well done than I would like, and that's because they reheated up the slice. But the caramelized cheese is just even better, being cooked up the second time. The other thing that catches my eye is those pepperonis on top. You see, the pepperonis are usually nice and cupped and a little bit charred, but they added them after the fact because you choose between cheese and pepperoni. Did it affect the taste? Not really. It's still an amazing pizza, and that caramelized cheese is worth every bite. So big thumbs up from me. Again, my only knock on it is that pepperoni. I really wish they would have maybe pre-cooked the pepperoni or just, had pepperoni slices pre-made. Because right now it's just kind of floppy, greasy pepperonis, as you can see. So I ended up taking them off. I'd rather have them the cup style. And we'll talk more about that later though, because we do have some pictures from a previous visit. So we lose the pepperonis and we finish the slice. What I like to do is go back and get some of that freshly grated Parmesan. It just adds to the flavor profile of the pizza itself. You really can't go wrong with it. I know it sounds like I'm knocking it, but I'm really not. This is one of my favorite pizzas, and the fact that it shares walls with Craft, a modern drinkery, makes it even better. Go there, play some video games, hang out with your friends, and have a modern cocktail. Maybe sit outside and enjoy the night. All right, we just got done with our meal. Let's go talk about it. Today did not work out exactly how I planned. It was something new, so we actually do have kind of an actual review to do. But let's talk about the pros and the cons inside the Tessie. So on our way to Transplant, like my original thought was we do like we would normally do. We just order one of their pizzas. I know you really like their salad, so order their salad and what have you. We came in not knowing, and unexpectedly, they now offer actual lunch menus, which always scares me in these type of situations because that usually means they're not getting the revenue from just doing what they do, so they have to expand to try and attract a broader audience. So in this particular case, the pros and cons behind it were They already have some slices pre-prepared, like we've done in other places. But since these pizzas have to cook at such a high temperature for a while, they're more inclined to, well, burn in this case. But it actually didn't affect the overall quality of the pizza to me, because you ordered the lunch special, so I decided to follow suit instead of like ordering just like a pizza, because I was going to think about ordering one of their unique type pizzas for us to try. They offer either cheese or pepperoni for their lunch menu, and it comes with a salad. I have to say, the salad, you can just have that as a meal by itself. It's really good.
Hands down my favorite salad in the entire world. Like, it's got fresh croutons.
And you can tell everything there's like house made too, which is nice. And we got the Caesar salad, and that Caesar dressing too tasted house made. I couldn't tell if there was anchovies in it or not, because the traditional Caesar salad does have anchovies in the set dressing. But I really enjoyed it too. And you've had me come here and just get the salad for you without the pizza.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, we'll try it out. My only con with the meal is, since they add pepperonis on after the fact, is they're just, they were still, like, they were mildly warm. They weren't even like fully like cooked pepperoni, because one of the advantages and nice things about a Detroit style pizza like this. So my only con is those pepperonis usually have the nice cupping to them with that little bit of burn on them to give them that crunch. And that just adds to the overall like profile, like the flavor profile and texture to the pizza. In this case, they were just like floppy pepperonis. I ended up actually taking them off because it was actually ruining the food for me. And that sounds like I'm giving it a big con. I'm not. I still really enjoyed the pizza. That pizza's good whether it's fresh or a day old to me.
Right.
The one thing we did not get today that I know we both like, and it's usually like Henry's go-to, is their breadsticks. It's the same type of dough that they use for the pizza, but they use that nice sea salt on there. It's like kind of like a focaccia like bread. It is my favorite breadsticks in Tucson, hands down. Which is always weird, because pizza is just literally just bread. But I truly enjoy it. And as a Detroit fan, like they have a model there, it's painted on their wall. If they ever put it on a t-shirt, I would 100% buy it. That says Tucson born, Detroit inspired. That's kind of how I view my life. Like, I'm a Bad Boys fan. I love the Pistons. Rodman's my favorite player of all time. I love the Detroit style work ethic. Like, Barry Sanders is hands down the greatest running back ever to touch a football. So I'm a Detroit kid in a Tucson town, the way I look at it. And this is the real only Detroit style pizza in Tucson. There's some places that offer what they call Detroit style, but they really do specialize in it here. And it's like you are stepping foot in Michigan, in my opinion. So I truly enjoy it there. And I love the ambiance too, because when you think Detroit, well, here, actually, let me ask you this, because I always take your opinions and your insight as kind of like middle America, because I love you so much, because one of the things I love about you is you are not high maintenance. Like, you either like it or you don't, you're good. I describe you as my meat and potatoes gal that has a picky husband. So when you think Detroit, what's one of the first things that comes to your mind?
I don't know.
See, I kind of expected that answer from you. Pop culture-wise, when people think Detroit, they usually think rock music, besides hard work ethic and rock music. And that's what I love. They actually incorporated Detroit-style rock music in there. Like, they had the pizza cutters on the wall that are actually records. They have, like, what looks like an MTV-inspired astronaut reaching for a slice of pizza. And they play just awesome, like, 70s, 80s rock music in there. So it's always a good ambience.
I like music.
Unless you're recording video and copyright infringement. So you have to do everything in voiceover. And, like, since I have a lot of family that came from Detroit, like my mother, who's a music fanatic, she used to get records from her cousins in Detroit whenever they come visit her here in Arizona. So she had, like, original pressings like Bob Seger and things like that. Like, she knew what 8 Mile was before the movie 8 Mile came out. So all in all, I really like Detroit-style pizza. It's the only example of true Detroit-style, or transplant pizza, Detroit-style here in Tucson. And I think they do it better than most places. And what's really unique about them, they're part of a larger food concept. So there's a place here in Tucson called Cereal Grillers that first started off doing pizza, then branched out to other stuff. We're going to probably do a video there at some point. And then they also have El Toro, which is the Mexican food restaurant, like tacos specifically.
Right.
And then right next door, they have what's called Craft Modern Drinkery. What's cool about that is it shares that wall there with a Transplant, so you can have your pizza, then go next door and sit down, play some old school video games, and have a modern cocktail. So it's 2 places in one. So all in all, I give it an 8 out of 10. Only reason I give it an 8 out of 10 is because of this particular experience, which everything was fine except for, since we had the lunch special, I don't think it was the true example of what their pizza is. Because it was colder a little bit because they had to warm it up, and by the time I got to it after my salad, and I didn't get to choose the other toppings I like, because the pepperoni and cheese in this case, they're fine, but the pepperoni just wasn't the normal pepperoni pizza I expect from Transplant. What about you? What would you give it?
I enjoyed everything, even my what little bit of the cheese pizza I got.
Yeah, Charlie kind of took over your pizza from you. That's the other reason. Like, we're not getting a pizza. You know, he's gonna eat one.
No, and I fully expected that. I would. I still really enjoyed it. It had that nice, crispy, cheesy.
That caramelized cheese is what really makes it indicative of Detroit-style pizza, because they cooked it in the old cast irons. That's how it started off life. Like, okay, because you have Chicago right down the street from, well, quote, down the street from Detroit. So you have the deep dish, which is similar, but different kinds of bread.
Right.
Different kind of crust, but same basic cooking method, I guess. Well, what would you give it out of 10?
I give mine, I guess, 10 out of 10.
Oh, Dana's a 10 out of 10. So this is the start of our divorce.
Oh my gosh.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for taking in another pizza place with us. We're going to continue the great Southern Arizona pizza crawl here. That was Transplant Pizza here in Tucson, Arizona at the corner of Speedway and Swan. I'll put their information down below so you can check them out. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Like I said, it's one of my favorite pizzas. I give it 8 out of 10 because of this personal experience for me. I think normally it would be like a 9 out of 10. I gotta be transparent with it, so let's call it what it was. This wasn't the best, but it was still better than most places. Like, the staff is always friendly. I like the fact that I like the ambiance. One of my favorite elements of the entire restaurant is the seating, because you have like the small tables for everyone to sit at, and then you have the nice outdoor area. But then you also have the bench seating, like I talked about with Upper Crust Pizza, where if you just want to sit by yourself and face a wall or out a window and not be bothered to look at people, it has a little bit of everything. And I love the fact that you have the garage doors open to make it really outside, inside, inside, outside. So make sure you check them out. And thanks for taking another ride with us. Let's take another ride again soon. Until then, bye-bye, everybody. Charlie, did you like your pizza?
Yeah.
He says yeah. Well, let me be more specific. Did you like Mama's pizza? Yeah. And Charlie used his first urinal today. Yay!